Oh. Good evening, everyone. The so-called heat wave may have ended, but it's still hot as fucking shit over here in Norwich. Of course, once again, you're not here for a forecast. No. I have been trying to do many takes on this video, which pertains to Alex Belfield. Because as some of you well know, I put up a video beforehand, which I admit I had wrongly defended Alex Belfield. And you know what? I'm just going to pop my bag down a sec, because I want to do this. I solemnly swear I fucked up, bluntly speaking. Now, why do I say that? Well, simple. People make mistakes. And the thing is, I'd like to think I'm one of the bolder people who will happily say when they fucked up. Because after doing a considerable amount of digging, I've had enough time to do it, but after enough digging, I have found some major red flags which have led me to change my stance on the one known as Alex Belfield. Now, I even looked into my biggest mistake of all, which was the 29 emails that I said had only been shown. And to some extent I was right, but the trouble was I didn't look into the articles that were stating that Rosina, what was it? I know her first name, but Rosina, the head of the BBC officers, or whatever it is, who is called, I think it was Gonzo, by Alex himself, had received 4,000 to 6,000 emails over 5 years. So that's my biggest mistake. And bear in mind, he's already been found guilty on 4 counts of stalking. And what's funny is some people are saying, oh, well, he was found guilty on 4, not guilty on 4. That must be a net total of 0. No, being guilty on 4 counts of stalking is still being guilty on 4 counts of fucking stalking. That's the thing. This isn't like football where like one side scores and then the other scores and then it's all even. Ow. Had to duck out the way then. Hurt my arm as well. Anyway, it's not like a game of football where both sides can score and then it equals out. No. What this is he's guilty of 4 counts of stalking and there's nothing to it. And while it may be a different brand of stalking, it doesn't change the fact that Alex stalked these people. And unfortunately, YouTube had actually allowed him to do that for a considerable amount of time. That's the trouble these days of promoting free speech. And the trouble is, I'll always advocate for people's freedom of speech, unless they're maybe like a terrorist scumbag and what have you. But other than that, I'll always advocate for it, purely on the basis that people need to have a voice. So that if there are stupid opinions out there, there are crazy opinions out there, we can challenge them and then defeat them. Sorry about that, I need to loosen up. As I said, it's real hot out there. Anyway, I would definitely advocate for his freedom of speech, even if I now don't agree with him, just for the simple fact, we need to be able to expose these people. We need to expose the idiots and the lunatics out there, the people who have views that are not compatible, so that then we can show that and get rid of them. Now, I'll be linking in the description below a load of videos, because there's going to be a considerable amount here, from Reverend Simon Sideways. I actually haven't seen the guy in quite a while. Well, I mean, video-wise. Used to be subscribed to him on my old channel. There's also, is it History Debunked? I'm trying to remember that gentleman who I actually was watching on the way home over Alex Belfield. There's also Super J, who has actually done a really good video on Alex Belfield, indicating the other two as well, on Alex Belfield and his actions, And he does it in a way of shit in their eyes, which I've actually helped him out with when I was on my old channel. I still laugh at those days. That's not why you called. And then Ian Lee himself, who has been making a considerable amount of Alex Belfield content, including the time where he had apparently called in to Ian Lee's show under the guise of Andy to basically launch a tirade at him, a tirade of abuse. He had also allegedly put a report in to the police that Ian Lee had edited his Wikipedia page or something, and had put in that he was the Jimmy Savile of trolling. And it turned out, allegedly, in the video, as I said, all of this will be linked, that he didn't go to that page to edit it, and he actually condemned, and I will condemn myself, the person who decided to put that, and that nobody should be going over to anybody or their Wikipedia page to harass people or to call them things. And I will always stand by this point of, it is disgusting to think or compare Alex Belfield to the likes of Jimmy Savile. I will say that in regards to Jeremy Vine, and I will say that in regards to the person who edited the page. Because a lot of people will agree with me on this much, whether they're left, right, or centre of politics. Rape, or sorry, he didn't rape him, or he might have done for all I know, but sexual harassment, sexual assault, pedophilia in regards to children, groping them while they were dying in a fucking hospice, I will add, because that's something few people point out. I think that definitely ranks much higher on the crime scale compared to simple stalking. So, as said, I condemn the wanker who's actually put that on Alex Belfield's page. I will defend him on that much, because after all, we have to have some modicum of integrity, no matter how small. Unlike the chins that I've got, you know. Anyway, this is why I will always have that principle of, I will not stand for people who make such disgusting comments like that are uncalled for and completely out of league of what's going on. And I will always defend a person's right to free speech. Though that being said, I will say this on my page, I've had to delete a couple of jerk-offs on the old video I did. I think one of them because they weren't being constructive, and the other one because, well, they actually said to me, no, I am going to tell you what to do. They actually thought they could fucking, proselytize to me on my own channel. So he's been slung on his bike and thrown down a hill, metaphorically speaking. But that's not what we're here to discuss. There is also a video that I did find about his treatment to Vanessa Feltz when he invited her onto the show. And Vanessa asked Alex to give 20 questions to her, and Alex was pretty nasty in the way he conducted his business. He decided to call her horseface, and he decided to call her chunky legs or whatever it was, and he was basically launching a shitload of abuse towards Vanessa, unprovoked, uncalled for, below the belt stuff. Now let me be clear, I am not the sort of person who is sensitive, and that if people are gonna comment, I like say that I'm fat or whatever, I couldn't care less. It's a matter of being constructive more than anything. And it's a matter of, I have got that thick skin, but it's my channel, and I have the right to run it how I want. Likewise, if you're out and about, you wouldn't take any abuse from your family, so why the hell would you take it from other people? And I'm actually surprised Vanessa didn't just flat out walk off, which may have been unprofessional, but I would have stood by that, because who deserves to be subjected to abuse when they haven't deserved nor warranted it? That's the way I look at it. And let me be clear, I don't particularly like Vanessa Feltz. I don't know her. I haven't seen her. I'm not a big fan of her. I wouldn't say I despise the woman, but I don't like the woman. And here's Alex giving her a tirade of abuse. Again, the video will be linked. But I think I'm going to now highlight what is probably one of the most important points in this entire video. There's actually two videos that I've actually been able to dig up, that I was able to find in regards to Alex Belfield, because what I find ironic is he claimed that he was the victim of a witch hunt, which may or may not be true, for all I know. But I'll tell you what is true, and I'll tell you this for free. Just get my glasses straight, and then I'll tell you. Anyway, there is two instances where he has encouraged his fans to, in the first instance, he wanted to basically get them to harass a couple of people from the BBC to ask them, in terms of what he claims is a malicious email, he wanted them to go to them and ask them the questions, did you send this email? I can't remember the two people off the top of my head, but he was launching a whole load of abuse at some of the BBC people. And let me be clear, I don't like the BBC. I fucking hate them. I will say that much. I hate the BBC and all they've done. However, what Alex has done by encouraging witch hunting of these people is thoroughly, unequivocally, and undeniably unacceptable. If I can find the video, I will link it. And as for the other instance with Jeremy Vine, again, that will be linked in the description below. But he encouraged his fans to go over and harass two people and ask them, did you send this email? On his behalf. So, encouraging people to harass them. Then, he decided to, well, he actually, according to the video from Alex Belfield Clips, big hater of him, fair enough, but he actually got a clip of him begging his viewers to phone in to Jeremy Vine with no delay on another harassment mission. And as much as I also hate Jeremy Vine and the fact that he's basically a woke little snake, it does not encourage or justify the fact that he is being harassed. It doesn't justify it in the slightest. And it certainly doesn't encourage it doesn't justify witch hunting people. Which Alex Belfield is undeniably guilty. And you can say what you want Alex Belfield about, well, I was just trying to ask him a couple of questions or what have you. The bottom line is, you are fucking witch hunting these people, and there is no other way about it. On that front, you are guilty. Unequivocally. And as for the other charges, simple stalking, the 4,000 to 6,000 emails to Rosina, I think you've brought this upon yourself. And what's funny is, this guy was always preaching, I will have my day in court. Big words. Yet the moment he was up there, he didn't want to defend himself. Why is that? He literally only said in his closing statement what was essentially his defense, but not really, because it's basically like a house of wet cards, it's all going to fall down, is he said that he has been a victim of a BBC and police witch hunt, which again may or may not be true, for all we know, and that he will fight for the truth, basically. Well, unlike people like Tommy Robinson, who are being found guilty of things that they may or may not have committed on the back of a judge. You had a jury, Alex Belfield. You had a fair trial. You got what you want. You were praising Judge Saney. You won't defend yourself, though. That, to me, is a big red flag. And that was my cutlery and shit falling on the floor. Anyway, this is a big red flag. This is a massive red flag, in fact. The fact that you weren't willing to defend yourself when you said you're going to go in there. And you basically said you're going to go in and kick butt. And yet, you probably kicked as much butt as I did when I was back in my 8 years of school. Zip. That is the thing, Alex. You've got to back up what you say. And you didn't. That's why you've been found guilty. Because people ruled against you. And given this is only on 4 of the 8 cases, but it doesn't change the fact that you are now convicted as a stalker. And while I'll admit to any detractors of me that I made a mistake, and I will admit that I didn't want to accept that you were guilty, Alex, upon having my second look on this, you're as guilty as a murderer with a smoking gun in his hand. You fucked up, Alex, bluntly speaking. Thankfully, I wasn't one of the people that decided to donate to him either, which is another very, very big contention point here. Because people are quite rightly questioning where the funds have gone in regards to what he wanted to do was originally sue the BBC. I think he received like over 300 grand for his defences and all that. And he keeps saying, you know where the money is going, it's all gone to my lawyer. And while he can say that, and perhaps we will never really truly know where all the money has gone, and there is some truth in what he said. Some of his money probably has gone to his lawyers, for all I care. But unfortunately, without the evidence straight from the horse's mouth, invoices and receipts would easily clear this up. Sorry, just water in this. I use it sometimes at work. Anyway, he could have brought invoices and receipts into this to clear the matter up. He hasn't. In fact, if he really wanted to sue the BBC over lost wages like he claimed so much, why not just go to small claims court? You don't need 300 fucking thousand just to be able to take the BBC to court over lost wages. You don't even need to do that with any other bloody company, let alone the BBC. So it does beg the question, what's really going on with those donations that you've received? And what's funny is, he actually said to Ian Lee in his call to him that he was about to cut him off when I think it was the point where Ian Lee was saying, why are you being so vexatious or vexatious? I can't even pronounce the word myself now. But why are you being so, why is your life really that empty, that kind of thing? And he went, oh, you're about to cut me off. And it was like, he had his hand nowhere near the cut off button, Chief. So you made yourself look stupid. And what's funny is, he says that the moment somebody questioned him on one of his most recent live dial-ins, as soon as someone asked what's been going on with the donations, bam, instantly cut him off, saying that he is a farthead and a thicko, and he saw this coming and we're not going to talk about it. Why so quick to cut him off, Alex? Why so quick to want to divert the subject? But most importantly, this shows blatant projection and hypocrisy on your end, Alex. The thing you claimed Ian Lee was going to do, you did yourself in your own radio show. How do you explain that one? I'm glad I've opened my eyes and seen what's really going on here. Because what I'm starting to see, Alex Belfield, is you are a bit of a narcissistic piece of shit, bluntly speaking. You're a two-faced little wanker. You are a vile human being who wants to slander people for no justifiable reason. You want to slander people and deface them on your own show in some cases and make them to look like a fool. When Vanessa did nothing to warrant her tirade of abuse, how Jeremy Vine does not deserve to be harassed by your followers you encouraged to go and harass him, as well as the two people that you wanted them to answer a question of, did you send that email? And you would hound them for the rest of your life. I do remember the video. If only I could fucking find it. It may be he's already deleted the video for all I care. And for all I know. Which would be a shame, because then I wouldn't be able to show the whole fucking thing. But I guarantee you he did say to his followers to go and ask them those questions. I have no reason to lie. I have nothing to hide, except maybe a couple of chins here. Anyway, I have nothing to hide. That is why I make these points. And it is a shame that I didn't know about some of the shit that he'd done until today. Though in my defense, and I will say this much about myself in my defense, I was not subscribed early enough to know some of the stuff he had done, or seen his videos for that matter, which the Vanessa Feltz video is back like, what was it, 8-9 years or something? And a lot of his abuse towards these people is also quite a considerable number of years back. And I was only subscribed back in like late 21, where he was talking about COVID, and he was saying that he is going to have his Christmas with his friends and family, which he has every right to have. I'm not knocking him on that much, but I am going to knock him over the witch hunting and the shit that he has done over these years. The bottom line is, Alex Belfield is a master gaslighter, projectionist, liar, and now he's a stalker, albeit not one of the traditional ones that go around and physically stalk these people. But he is more than willing to send thousands of emails to a person over 5 years. And to put into perspective, even if we lowball it and say, let's say he, hell, let's be generous and say, let's say he only sent 2,000 emails over 5 years. That's still 400 across a year, which would equate to about 1.2, maybe 1.3, give or take, 1.2, 1.3 emails every day, without fail. But this is 4,000 to 6,000 across 5 years. So he could have been sending as many as 1,000 emails to this person a year, which would nearly equate to 3 every day. Or maybe even more. There is a reason the jury found you guilty, Alex. Unlike Tommy Robinson's cases, you can't sit there and say, oh, well, I didn't have a jury. Oh, I didn't have a fair trial. You got your fair trial. You lost. And now you're having to pay compensatory damages. Now you're having to pay your lawyers. Now you're having to pay the price, possibly in a custodial sentence, which we will see later in September. We'll soon find out what happens to you. Though, the way I look at it, You're already hemorrhaging subscribers. You already lost about 8,000 of them on YouTube. And you're trying to paywall yourself behind your own website. The voice of reason. More like the voice of malignity. And I'll be clear, he can do whatever he wants with his Voice of Reason channel. There's nothing we can do to stop it. And I'm not going to advocate for people to go and harass him, because I have principles. I have something very important called a moral compass. I always call it compass. Compass, rather. And sometimes it might point west or east or south, and it might be a little bit wonky, but in the end it always ends up pointing north. Metaphorically speaking, of course. So I will not be saying for people to go and harass Alex Belfield. I will not be saying for people to go and harass the BBC. I will not be saying for people to go and harass Jeremy Vine, or the two people who may have sent the malicious email about Alex Belfield. But I will say this. I do believe in karma. And what you give is what you get returned. Like that song that I used to listen to when I was a kid. And I think karma is coming full circle for you, Alex Belfield. And I do not agree with you going down this paywall route of going to the Voice of Reason website and basically locking yourself in there with a quote-unquote wall as high as Trump's. And let me be clear, I'm not here to talk about Trump or his wall or whether it's 60 meters or 60 millimeters. But I think it's a bit of a stupid statement to say that when a hacker can just get in and, I don't know, screw your shit up. Because people can do that. I don't agree, though. The main point is I don't agree with paywalling yourself like this. But it's your channel. You do what you want, Alex. I will say that much, and I am entitled to my opinion, whether you like it or not. But what I find very hypocritical of you, Alex Belfield, is you claim that there's no freedom of speech on YouTube. And yet, people like me exist. People like Reverend exist. People like Super J exist. People like Tommy Robertson, albeit he's shadow banned, exist on YouTube. I mean, is it the proprietor of free speech? No. Far from it. If you want proper freedom of speech, I'd probably say go to places like Getter or Rumble, or to some lesser degree, BitChute. But there is some degree of freedom of speech on YouTube. And what I find funny, Alex, is in your most recent videos, maybe not the ones that you have in the past, but all your recent videos that you've been putting out, including the one that came out today that I've just noticed, they all have their comments turned off. Pot Kettle Black springs to mind, Alex. You claim no freedom of speech, yet you're blocking people from being able to comment. On Twitter, I've heard that you are making tweets, but you're not allowing people to reply. What's that? You're not giving people a chance to respond. That's freedom of speech, and you are denying them that. You are a hypocrite, sir. You are a hypocrite, and a shameless one at that. A hypocrite, a narcissist, to some degree misogynistic. You're a liar, you're a fraud, and you're just a gigantic fucking cunt, bluntly speaking. You lied to these people, claiming it was going to be to sue the BBC. You lied about you were going to have your day in court, and you basically kept stum. And you have lied to people about a lot of other things as well. The potential bomb hoax as well. Oh, you wouldn't ever go onto somebody's channel under a false alias and go and harass them and do that kind of shit. No, of course not. Just take a look at Ian Lee's channel. And I am glad at all the detractors of my previous video. Because you know what, as I said, when I make a mistake, I hold my hands up to it. I'm the first one to do so. And I say, I fucked up. And boy, oh boy, did I fuck up with Alex Belfield. My name's Debima, also known as Abathorex. And I am, as always, very, very bad news for lying, manipulative, narcissistic stalkers like Alex Belfield. And let me be clear, as I said, I hate the BBC, but I will defend them on this point. Just this once, mind you. Just for the simple fact that nobody deserves to be witch hunted and harassed with malicious intent. Alex Belfield, the master projectionist, the master gaslighter. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day. And most importantly, fuck the government.